Thokozani, Gogo Noma. I just came by. I've written a few things on my notebook. These are Q&As. I just went through some of my emails and some of the videos that I've done, and I saw there were a few questions, especially about Ukuphahla. So I'm just gonna try to read. I'm sure it's like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. So about 11, 12 questions that I have that I want to address on this video. Welcome, I'm Gogo Noma, and this is Learning with Noma. So if you know, there is already about 9 lessons on Ukuphahla on my YouTube channel. You can look through the channel and find them. I'm just going to answer a few of the ones that I feel I did not touch on. One of the questions was to say, Gogo, is it possible for one to phahla in English or in a different language from your mother tongue? Yes, it is. One thing we need to remember about spirit is that spirit has had many different physical experiences. And for me, one thing that I always say is that, and from my previous video, because I'm just shooting this one after the surrender video, I've just said that we need to now start shifting our understanding of I'm spirit having a physical experience to I am a physical being given an opportunity to have a spiritual experience, because spirit has been everywhere billions of years. It's been here. We talk about reincarnation. So really, is it spirit having a physical experience? It's been here. It's trying to correct what I'll say was not corrected, or maybe where I didn't go right in the last life, and I'm having a different body so that I can do better. Maybe the spirit needed somebody who's small like me, submissive, calm down, because they've been in the bodies of those who were heavy, masculine, and it's sort of like, let us see what will happen if we choose this particular physical body to have this spiritual experience that I'm having at the moment. And when I say spiritual experience, I'm talking about me as a physical being. Yes, as a collective, we can be spirits having a physical experience, because we then understand and see each other. Hence we talk about umuntu ngabantu. I cannot be an island alone. I need to have you plant your cabbage and another one plant their maize meal for me to have the food that I'm eating. I need to have someone working somewhere for me to go and get the savers there. And understanding futhi ukuthi inyanga is laphi, or you cannot heal yourself as an individual. And that is the topic for another day. So as a collective, yes, we are having physical experience through our bodies, but as an individual in my own space, I am having a spiritual experience through this physical vessel that I am. So can we phahla in English? Yes, you can phahla in any language, not just English. For an example, say you grew up like myself. I grew up in a very Sotho orientated place. Ke entse Sesotho sekolong, I was reading bo mochochonono ka belwa manong, ke entse maele, ka etsa dithotokiso, I'm like Sesotho. And you look at me, Nomachini Mkehlani Ntlangisa, you talk about Msisi, you go to Amate, like the Ndebele, not even Ndebele, Runar Matebele. We say Matebele. So you look at all that, and I don't even know Zulu. I don't know Shangani. My mom is from Shashai, Mozambique. I understand most languages, but my tongue doesn't really speak in most of the languages. I've got a very tight tongue. I always struggle, sometimes even with pronouncing some of the English words. But I keep so yes, I don't go and talk to my grandmother wakashiluvani and ngithi kokwana no, I speak Sesotho, and I've never had a problem with my grandmother coming back to me and giving the necessary answers. Same as in Kolweni, when I throw the bones, I can be consulting somebody from Ghana and their ancestor will come and speak in their native language, but somehow my spirit guides will, I'll tell this person that they're speaking in a language that I don't understand, and this are some of the few words that I can hear what they're saying, but I don't know what it would mean to you. There's translation in spirit that comes, and I would be able to translate to that person exactly what this person that I'm having a conversation within spirit is saying in their own language. So for me, can you pass in a different language from that of the ancestor that you're communicating to? Yes, you can. There's no restriction for spirit, because if the spirit is with you and is aligned to you and it's in your DNA, the memory is there and they will understand every communication, whatever method, whatever language that you're using. So language is not a barrier. Language is not a barrier when it comes to Ukuphahla. Yes, it's all good when you know your language and you are able to be multilingual, but do not be restricted by that. Do not think that just because nka se kgone ho bua Sesotho, therefore I cannot phahla to Bataung. You can if you are in Mutaung. So language is not a barrier. Again, guys, remember this is my own experience with spirit. Other people might have different opinions, and it's okay. And your closing might maybe say, let's say it might react differently to what I'm saying. Then you will need to find other ways that will work for you. But for me, in my space, language is not a problem, and language has never been a barrier. The other one was to say, Gogo. Oh, and then there was another question to say, if I phahla and ekuphahleni kwami I start talking in tongues, languages that I don't understand, does that mean that I've got spirits that need for me to go to the charismatic churches and go start talking in tongues? As I've said before, previously, no, to say language is not a barrier in spirit, and you don't know where your spirit has been and which bodies it has occupied, and the reincarnation in itself carries billions and billions of years of memories in the DNA. Remember when we talked also about you as a person, we in biology sense we are talking about your mom, your dad, you, and then we talk about spirit, the life giving source that is in you. So in your mom, we talk your grandmother and your grandfather. In there, you understand, it's like DNAs of DNAs of DNAs of DNAs in you. And when you start talking in those different tongues, this might also be your ancestors coming through to you, trying to identify for you the origin of where you come from. And when we also talk about this, you can look at a video of Ukfemba where I say mangifemba sometimes umuntu athi but nna ke bua Sesotho, Gogo o bua Sezulu, ntatemoholo ke mang, I speak Sesotho. Gogo is now bringing somebody who spoke Zulu. Who is that person? And that could be an ancestor that has been there in your bloodline, in your space, coming through to also remind you where you come from, or to also say, listen, there is this bloodline in you know, you don't understand why you start dreaming about imikondo, this and that, and you have a DNA that stems from. And when we talk about the Nguni people, we are not just talking about Basotho, Mazulu. We're not just talking about Amaxhosa. No, we are talking about all that and more. So those different tongues that you find yourself when you are now in spirit, and we'd call it a trance sometimes, that then they are taking over and they're trying to be identified through you. And for those that experience that, my advice would be maybe go to a spiritual healer, get a consultation and find out. You might be having a gift that you're not aware of and that needs to be activated. Don't know my paternal surname. Do I still phahla if I don't know my paternal surname? Yes, you can still phahla if you don't know. And this can be in a case where you know your father's name, but you don't know your paternal surname. And it can be in different ways, guys. You might find that your father is using his mother's maternal surname, and your father never knew who his father was. So you understand, that is where you were introduced, then you will use that surname. Other times it could be that you know your father, but you really just been hearing in the grapevine your mother is not really told you who your father is and you don't know who your father is, the DNA is in you. Some people, they start dreaming about crocodiles. Every time you have a dream, there's a crocodile involved. You even dream of the cloths of the crocodiles. Then maybe your paternals are trying to say to you about Kwena. Then people start asking, do I pass up to my paternal side? Because even if they didn't do the due diligence, besides lobola, basan lobola, basa, they didn't do anything for me, Gogo. Do I call them when I pass? Through consultations, and I'll say the experience that I've heard now in consultations, some ancestors look at all those physical things that we attach, the traditions, the culture, as exactly that, tradition and culture. And they would say, whether your father did right or wrong, when you are Emokwena, we see you and we are around you and we walk with you and we want to protect you. So yes, physically things might have not been done, but others ancestors don't need to have these physical things. Remember, when we do the physical rituals, is to actually activate um spirit in our lives and in our DNA. Hence, when we talk things like imbeleko, if a child can have imbeleko done at the wrong family, things get messed up, or all those kind of things happen. So there are those spirits that are very proactive, and they would say, we are here, we are protecting you, we are coming to visit you, we will show you who you are even before anything is done for you. And we will talk more about those activation processes or rituals later as the year goes and we continue with the lessons. And I'm going to give you an example with how, for me, at this time in my life, I'm actually looking back and I'm understanding how the imbeleko sort of like happened in for me before I even went April 20, because those were one of the some of the things that I was asking to say, isn't as they went well, I'm still working, but all these cultural things that people talk about, some of them I never really went through, but then spirit comes back and says, no, but when you were doing this is actually that. What we need to understand about rituals is the intention of the ritual. And once you understand the intention of the ritual, you will then see that the process can be different for different people, as long as the intention is there and the necessary thing that needs to be done, the core. We're not talking about the animal, I'm not talking about like, I'm just not talking about the tangible things that we think about. When you go to the root cause of rituals, you need to find out the intention and understand what, when everything else is done in the physical, what is the core spiritual thing that needs to be done to actually activate. So yes, you can phahla if you don't know your paternal side. In my lesson, I think it is the one where I talk about introducing yourself. I specifically say that go as far as you can. Spirit will always come back when they see the intention and they see that you've got the desire to reconnect and realign with them. They will always come back and give you the necessary information. As an adopted child, do I phahla to my parents first or to my adopted? And this is in a case of somebody who knows their parents. One, let's talk about adopted. Are you adopted in a sense of I'm adopted? They did the ritual to welcome me to their ancestral site. Are there rituals that are necessary to be done? Were they done? Are you using the same name? Are they caring for you? Sometimes, guys, we take rituals and we want to also put them at the forefront, and hence I'm saying that with spirit, some of the things I'm coming to learn that they are for us as humans, but in spirit, really, they look at the core and the most important thing. So one, you are adopted, your parents have been taking care of you since day one. Some of the people adopted since 3 months, and now at the age of 25, you are telling us things are going wrong because it was lasekhaya liyakhala. You need to know your parents, you need to know where you come from. There's a song yaka Java that says Linda, and if you listen to that song, you know there's truth in it, as much as there's also a need for us to use spirit to verify other things. But there is truth in it, where one will be told things are not going well because you don't know your father. Really, some people, it's not even that, because your father's spirit, the DNA is there in you. Yes, there are certain things, there is truth in that. And some people, yes, we do need to say you need to go ekhaya uyonyathela. Those are your ancestors and how they activate, but that is not going to be a one size fit all. As I say, when you phahla, please start it simple. Light your candle, introduce yourself as far as you know, your name, your mother, your father, your father's father, the ones that you know. Abanye abantu, they're still calling names that are not even theirs, and they think, hey, I belong to this family, and things are going very well to those for those people. So how do we then explain that? Hence I say everything always needs for a consultation with spirit to take place and for us to understand why things are the way they are. But if you are adopted and they have done the correct things, they are taking care of you since forever. Even if, for me, I'll say, even if some of the rituals were omitted, you are not going to find a mutaung today and start calling mutaung before you call sangweni, because Dahung is your bloodline. You need to remember that as much as we in the physical talk about respect, hierarchy, all those things needs to also fall into spirit, guys. So I think this will be my last question for this one, because I don't want the videos to be too long. I'll do another one for the others. If you're adopted, you call your adopted parents, and then you can call your parents if you've just recently found out about them and rituals were not done. If you know those their names, please do acknowledge them. If they are coming to you in dreams as Bakwena Bataung, do acknowledge. When you acknowledge, spirit will give you more and direction will be given. But yes, as an adopted child, you can phahla because you've been welcomed into this family. Adoption has happened long before the adoption papers could be signed. Even with our ancestors, adoption was happening. This is why when you go also ephehlweni, most of the time you will find abanye abantu senim yasekhaya abo ndlangisa, wena ubuya nomthethwa, and they're like, who's mthethwa now? And umthethwa uyasichaza ukuthi, you know, he starts explaining to them how he's related and why he's in this. And remember again, with the history of surnames, our ancestors somehow, like for me, at home with my grandmother, my paternal grandmother, the family is Mkhehlane. But when you go to ekhaya lazalwa khona, all her siblings are Ndlangisa, and there's a history behind why she had to be Mkhehlane and now why we had to carry that. It is part of the clan name. When you talk Ndlangisa, Mkhehlane, Mzizi, you're talking more or less the same thing. And even the Mzizis themselves, some had to go to the Sesotho side and they started becoming Bomatsitsa. So you there's history in everything related to spirit. And when those surnames then come up, we then ask ourselves, but I'm not related to Mokwena, hi bo, but I'm not related to Bomutlong, but Uindlovu, you know, surname yasekhaya. Now you start understanding, oh, I am like this because they had to go to Matatiel, and when they got there, they had to change to this and to that. Do not disregard and do not think that you're making a mistake. If it resonates and it feels right, you do it. Language, there's no language barriers for Tlosi. Surnames, call as much as you can, as far as you know, and allow spirit to guide you. Let us not take all these physical rituals and attachments and make them the ultimate order of how we phahla. If it was Ilabuya Lonality, you cannot call the spirit the surname, then you stop. I know I've had few consultations where one person, you know, where a few people were being corrected on how they should actually even put the order of the surname. So that's another thing that you can do. Go for a spiritual consultation and try to find out who do I call first, especially in cases where one is adopted, where one, the father did not do what they're supposed to do, where you don't even know your father, but you know their names and their surnames. A spiritual consultation will always put things into alignment for you. But again, if you are phahla every day and you talk to your ancestors, believe me, there will always be an answer that comes. On this one, let me end it there. On the next video, I will continue to talk about can I phahla at the graveyard, and introducing your things in Ukuphahla, your children, your husband, work, anything like that. How do we go about doing that? With this one, let me close by answering the question of Ukuphahla and the menstrual cycle, and some of the questions that were there. Some people are asking to say, but you say you're not going to Umsamo. So the question was, Gogo, can I phahla when I'm on my menstrual cycle? Ukuphahla is communicating with your ancestors. So the question directly translated is, Gogo, can I communicate with my ancestors if I'm on my menstrual cycle? The answer is yes. You can communicate with your ancestors when you're on your menstrual cycle, whether you communicate with them in your bed, whether you go to your shrine. Remember, when you do that, it's a sacred space because it's between you and your ancestors, meaning even the rules that you apply there are between you and your ancestors. And in the video for me, I say sometimes I don't even go emsamo yopahla. I just light my candle in my bed. And I did clearly state that it is because sometimes I'm feeling weak. I don't feel like getting up. I'm nauseous. I'm just not in the energies of sitting up or even kneeling down. Hence, I communicate with them, but I don't physically go to the altar. When we talk umsamo, you're talking about me. I am the altar. I am that. My ancestors are here with me in my DNA. They are not in the corner somewhere. That is just a formal space for me to go into. So if the question is, can I communicate with my ancestors when I'm on my menstrual cycle? The answer is yes, with no doubt. Can I go emsamo? Can I go to my altar? Can I go to my shrine when I'm on my menstrual cycle? That I cannot dictate for all of us. I can still go. For me, it's not even about not going for the whole 7 days or 3 days. It's that one is that day, one particular day. And for many women, it's in different times. Some is the day before the menstrual cycle, some is on the day of the first day of the menstrual cycle, some is on the last day, where you feel overwhelmed, where you're tired, where your whole body is aching, or you've got joint you know your joints are not really working with you. You feel like you're pregnant, you feel like you're about to give birth at the same time. You don't know what's happening with you. You moody, you don't want to be with people, you don't want to talk. That day comes every month for all women, where you are just, and I get it, even when people are moody, to be like, oh, it's that time of the month. So when I am in that 24-hour period, for me, I don't force it. I don't go emsamo. I lie in my bed the whole day if I'm lucky enough to, now that I'm a mother. I just sit there and I take it easy. I can stay in my pajamas the whole day because I just need to take care of me. It's my body telling me, stop, pour into your own cup, you are empty. I just light my candle and I just communicate with them as I walk. Then the following day, when I'm up and down, still second day maybe of my menstrual cycle, and I'm up and I'm down and I'm even working and doing beni, I'm even doing whatever. If I'm gonna come and do next day, then I'm going to go to my shrine, Thokozani Royals, at my altar, my own sacred altar in the house. I'm going now, I'm going to work. Please be with me. So that is maybe where I needed to unpack it. And again, with your shrine, the rules are between you and your ancestors. Masikhuluma ngomsamo ekhaya, especially for those that talk about indlu kagogo. Then there are rules there laid down by the elders of the family. I'm not gonna stand and now start telling you kumele ukuthi ungene endlini kagogo. Even when you're on your menstrual cycle, if the rules at home from your elders, generations from generations, say to you, you don't enter this space when you are like this. Hey, Gogo Noma is not coming here to change authority or to question authority at home. I'm just saying, in your own space, do what is comfortable with you and spirit. Do not be restricted, because spirit does not restrict. And as I've said also, please go watch the video of the menstrual cycle and Ukuphahla to understand why women were told, stay in your house, don't come into the kitchen, don't take care of the children, not because we were dirty, not because we are dirty. Go and watch the stream, go and watch the lesson and find out. So can I phahla when I'm on my menstrual cycle? Can I communicate with my ancestors? Yes, you can. Candle, no candle, in the car, in the bathroom, at a mall, in the hotel, you do it. That means if I go on holiday now, I can't wake up in the morning and say, oh, thank you, another beautiful day, I'm going to the beach, please be with me. That is a phahla. That is communicating with my ancestors. Can I go to my shrine when I'm on holiday? No, I can't. My shrine is at home. My altar is at home. I've left it there. I've told them I'm going on holiday. But I can still communicate with them wherever I am. And that is where the answer is, guys. You can communicate with your ancestors when you're on a menstrual cycle. To understand more as I unpack this, please watch the video on Ukuphahla and the menstrual cycle. I'm going to stop it here. When I said that, there's still a few questions that I need to answer. Phahla at the graveyard, introducing to your ancestors, Phahla at a boyfriend's place or a partner's place, what to do with the offerings after you've presented them, Msamo, and then can I Phahla if Umsamo is not well? And I think this will be like a lesson on its own for us to unpack what is Umsamo. When we say it's not well, what do we mean? And who do you communicate with then if umsamo wako is not right? And then there's a question of, Gogo, I'm afraid to allow people to phahla at my space. I'm also afraid to allow myself to phahla at other people's place because I'm afraid I will leave my spirit guides there. And those are all questions that will be answered in the next few days. Thokozani.